Welcome to the Wealth Genius Podcast, brought to you by the Expand Wealth Real Estate Fund. Expand your wealth by investing in apartment buildings. Go to expandwealthfund.com to book your info session. The Wealth Genius Podcast, strategies for multifamily real estate investing, mindset, community, success. The Wealth Genius Podcast with your host, the godfather of real estate, Alfonso Cuadra, who has expansive experience in business and massive success as a real estate investor. The Wealth Genius Podcast. Let's dive into today's episode.
We're rolling, Garnet.
Happy to be
No,
here.
so happy to have you here, brother. Look, we met in Edmonton.
That's right.
And we did a panel together. I remember you were speaking and everything, and I'm like, man, this is the key guy here in Alberta, especially Edmonton, and that market is on fire.
It is, yeah.
And tell me how you got involved in real estate and property management and all the good stuff.
So I started investing back in 2016. So it was just, my wife and I, we got married, first house, put a basement suite in it, and, just started picking up doors that way. My current business partner, she's the founder, started this back in 2010. So I kind of started helping her out in 2016, with just day-to-day operations, going out to houses, doing showings, helping with, small little repairs and maintenance. We're currently managing a portfolio of just over 600 units now, and it's been a grind for a while, but now we've just found, we've got a lot more traffic, and as, we're helping out other investors, they're talking to other investors, so it's kind of a big snowball.
And is that your target market investors?
Yeah, we've got also a lot of, individuals that, are interested in becoming investors, but sometimes they only have one condo or one house, so, and often they upgrade to their, a new family home or something like that, and they choose to keep their current property as turned into a rental, essentially. So we have a lot of those kind of one-off, mom and pop investors, essentially, where they've only got one property and they're looking to acquire more. But yeah, we work with people that have one door and some that have 30 or 40 doors, right? So we manage everything from residential up to multifamilies.
Now we hear, Alberta's got some landlord-friendly legislation and policies, best in Canada, but is it that friendly?
It is. Yeah.
So how would you compare it? What would you? And I'll tell you something. I was in Arizona, and we were looking at this portfolio, like 200 doors or something. The property manager, I'm like, how long does it take you to get someone out here in Arizona? He's like, oh, man, you won't believe it. It's hard. It's tough. It's like, can you believe it takes us 3 days to get
Okay, well, it's not that good, but I'd say we're the best in Canada for sure. You compare to the U.S., that's a different beast. But, generally, we're usually, if, someone gets behind, we can we have usually a court date within 2 to 3 weeks. You won't automatically get an eviction just for non-payment or rent. They'll try and set up a payment plan, but it is pretty quick after that. It moves quickly.
So you get 2 to 3 weeks, you get a hearing.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And then after that hearing, they'll have...
you just got to follow
dates.
That's
right, and the payment schedule. If they default, then, it's usually within 48 hours to 7 days, maybe something like that, and then they're out. I
always tell people, look, property management is not for the faint of heart.
That's right. You gotta have tough skin.
You gotta have there's also has to be a level of passion there in terms of loving what you do, or else you're gonna do something else. Anybody could do. There's so many things that you could do.
Yep.
So property management it definitely requires a level of skill. People you gotta be good with people, but you also have to be stern and all these things. So what are some of the strategies that you follow? What makes what you're doing exciting for you? Like why did you decide to I want to dedicate my life to property management?
As an investor myself, I love real estate. So that was part of the draw. But I just enjoy helping obviously other investors kind of do what I'm doing, right? That's what I want to do, is create generational wealth. Help my family and help other families obviously attain that too. But then on the flip side of that is, we want to also provide, good housing for tenants and things like that, right? So, making sure that we have good communication. That's honestly been the reason why I think we've really grown so quickly. Is, you hear this all the time. My previous landlord, anytime there's repairs or maintenance requests, was always ignored, or it just took too long, or the self-managing landlords, they're going to send their brother-in-law to come, fix a toilet or something in the evening, kind of thing, right? So it's just not done professionally, right? So for us, we've got all the systems, the proper trades in place, so that when tenants do have a request, like it's being dealt with, right? So I think that's where a lot of our successes come from, is just dealing with people.
And did that come naturally to you? Because it's like sometimes you just there's dealing with people, and then there's like you got to learn how to deal with difficult people. Yeah,
that's right.
How to overcome that, and then
Yeah, I mean it's definitely comes down to, at the end of the day, it is communication, your sales skills, and negotiating skills too, right? Whether you're negotiating on on rents, or negotiating with trades, you're negotiating with just expectations from a tenant, and when it comes to certain things too, right? Because again, at the end of the day, it is a business. There are some things that need to be fixed, and some might be cosmetic, right? Where it just doesn't make sense for the landlord to spend money on, but a tenant might.
And I appreciate that. I mean, that's I would think one of the benefits of working with a property management company that actually invests, because for an investor to see it as a success, they need to make money.
That's right.
And you need to increase the value of the asset, so you got to increase rents. Reduce expenses, right? It's easier to keep everybody in place and not increase rents, but then the value of the asset doesn't increase.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So and again, there's two different things to look at. Of course, on the residential side, I mean, you can't really dictate the appraised value of that building just by raising the rents on a residential like you can with a multifamily, right? So on a for a residential investor, sometimes it is more beneficial to try and retain that tenant long term, because when you have that tenant turnover, it costs you money. Yeah, okay, you can increase the rent a little bit, but you might lose out on a good tenant that was there, versus with the multifamily, like you said, you can push the rents. The value of that building is going to go up too, right? And again, you're going to get a better tenant profile when you turn those units over, and can improve the properties too. And
so in terms of reducing expenses, what are some tricks that you have up your sleeve?
Well, I was at your boot camp November 1st to 3rd, so I'd say the number one thing are the plumbing things. Like, it's so easy to go into an old building and just look underneath the kitchen sinks, see if there's any
water
things that are dripping. Like, those are costs, because you're getting charged. I mean, in Alberta, the way it works, I mean, I assume it's the same here, but with EPCOR, you're going to have, you're getting charged for that water, but you're also getting charged for the waste, for all that water that's going down, right, for the sewage. So you're getting essentially dinged twice. So if you got big toilets with 20-liter tanks, like, try and get those to be a little bit more eco-friendly, that are, maybe a 6 or 8 or 10-liter tank, because that really cuts
it's a small investment. I don't think it's that big of an investment. No. But it will pay off. The beauty about being a multifamily investor is that you can instantly see the value once, if you can reduce the bill, you instantly see the value. Right. And so you need a good company that is attentive to that.
That's right. And that's kind of the one thing that we do as soon as we take on a new building. That's what we kind of go in and see where we can help owners save, whether it's, on going to LED lighting, or setting, hallways up on timers, looking at laundry, and then again, plumbing issues too. But not only are the cost savings you get with doing things like that, but it's also just the goodwill you get with tenants. Like, they're happy now. They got a new toilet or a new kitchen faucet. This old one wasn't working, or constantly dripping. Like, now, might get a pull down one where it's got a head that you can use to clean dishes and things like that. So just little things that, again, just helps the building run more efficiently, but also makes your tenants happier, which hopefully will turn into higher tenant retention of those tenants too.
And so I was just speaking with Calvin, and he was telling me what's going on in Alberta. I know that a lot of people from across Canada, everybody, I would say, is going to be looking at Alberta. That's the hottest market right now.
Yep.
And so what do you anticipate happening? Like, there's going to be this massive influx of Ontarians, people from BC, New Brunswick, and they're all wanting to invest in Alberta. Like that's a big influx of people. What do you think?
It is. I think obviously Calgary had their big boom, in the last 12 to 18 to 24 months. Like, I feel like we're we always ride kind of the same trend as Calgary, and we always trail about 2 years behind them or 18 months. So yeah, this spring I think that's where we're going to really see what we did in Calgary. But like you mentioned, it's not even just the investors that are purchasing properties in Edmonton. It's like we're seeing a lot of migration from homeowners that are coming to Edmonton now, because like they've like over the last, I'd say 6 months, on a weekly basis, like we're getting homeowners that are saying, yeah, like, you know, I'm selling my house in Ontario or BC or Vancouver. You know, I got this $1.2 million house, and, you know, I want to come, you know, get, you know, a $500,000 or $600,000 house. They'll pay cash, obviously. Got all this equity built up, but then now they can afford to go on vacations. They can have, you know, the nice cars. All
and an investment.
Yeah, that's an investment. That's right. That's exactly it. So a lot of these guys are buying these properties in anticipation to move their families here in the next 12 to 24 to 36 months. And again, they may or may not move into that house directly, but at least then they have some property here building up equity. And then, you know, when they're ready to move their families, then maybe they'll buy something else or choose to renovate it. Some guys have moved into those houses and they've just decided to get them and renovate them so they're ready for their families, kind of thing. So it's a unique thing that I haven't really seen before.
Well, you guys were a bit of a slump for a while.
Yeah, we've been flat for, I'd say, probably almost 10 years, where it's like, you know, the appreciation really wasn't there. You're getting the mortgage buy down, you know, and some cash flow. I mean, cash flow's always been good in Alberta, and that was always the draw. But yeah, there really wasn't that appreciation like we're starting to see now, which, I mean, last year, on average, I'd say we were between that 8 to 12%, somewhere in there, right? So it was a big jump.
It's exciting times.
It is. Yeah.
How do you work with investors differently than you would work with a homeowner?
I wouldn't say anything is different. I mean, again, it all depends on their asset and the unit type of property that they're bringing over to us. You know, an investor is usually a little bit easier to work with in the sense for, you know, if they need to do upgrades or spend money on something, whereas, you know, a homeowner maybe that's leaving their house, you know, they think, oh, that was good enough, or, you know, they don't want to change some things, so sometimes it's hard to get them to spend money on certain things.
I can see that if they live there, like that's exactly, they're more emotional about it.
Exactly. And then for them, they're like, well, you know, that was good enough. Like, I lived there for 5 or 10 years, and it's like, well, yeah, exactly. You lived here for 10 years. It's like, yeah, it's time to paint, or we got to, you know, freshen up the, you know, get rid of all the baseboards or something like that, you know, just doing things that need to be done, and it's been fine for a while. But yeah, the owners, those homeowners, sometimes is just trying to train them and kind of flip their mindset. Now you're an investor. It's like this is a business. You got to treat it like a business. There's going to be some expenses that have to be incurred, but yeah, when it comes down to renting them, like, I mean, our process is the same as whether you're an owner or investor.
And so what does the team look like? How many people you have working?
So we currently have a portfolio of just over 600 units. There's a team of 6 of us, and then we got, you know, an in-house handyman that helps with the majority of our repairs, and then we've got, you know, our licensed trades like, you know, plumbers, HVAC, appliance techs, all that. And that's the benefit of working with, you know, a management company of our size. You know, all those cost savings get passed to our clients because we get preferred rates from all our vendors. And, you know, guys are just willing to do things, you know, going on. I got, you know, some plumbers that'll go, they won't even charge us for after hours calls sometimes because it's like, you know,
they get the business.
Yeah, they get the business, and it's like, you know, if he's out there at 6 or 6:30 versus, you know, at 5 o'clock, some companies after 5, it's, you know, after hours, like he won't charge the after hours for us just because, again, they just do so much work with us.
What's the vision for the company? Where you guys want to take it?
I mean, we just want to continue growing and adding doors. I mean, we'd like to get more into the multifamilies. Like, obviously Edmonton is big into infills right now. So we are doing a lot more 6 and 8 plexes and things like that. But yeah, I'd love to, you know, start managing a little bit more bigger multifamilies.
Well, I know that for sure you're going to be helping out a lot of our members. You know, we have 1,200 plus members, and a majority of them are going to be wanting to invest in Alberta. And I would say a big portion of those people that are wanting to invest in Alberta are going to want to go to Edmonton, right? Calgary, I think it's peaking a little bit. Where Edmonton, I think there's still more meat on the bone there.
For sure. Yeah.
So
I don't think we've really even hit our peak just yet. Like, I think it's coming in the springtime. But
So we got to take action.
That's
we got to take action. So, you know, what would be that intake? Like, someone calls you from out of province, and how do you qualify a new client, and what would be the intake? What do they need to do to work with you?
I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, we kind of just want to, I mean, if they're shopping around looking at a few properties, often they'll send us, you know, 2 or 3 listings they're considering writing on. We'll kind of give them a market evaluation of what we feel the rents
that's
could
great.
be.
Yeah.
So just, we've got that information going. Because again, some realtors, again, unless they're investor focused, really, a lot of these realtors will throw numbers out there just to get the deal done. So it's like, oh yeah, and then they'll close on the property, and then, we have the conversation after the fact, possessions next week, and then it's like, oh yeah, my realtor said I could rent this out for $2,500. It's like, well, the market's not 25, maybe it's only 21 or 22 on this, right? And that changes the numbers and everything. So it is beneficial to have, a property management team, or a management company on your team, so that you can kind of do that at the beginning, do the homework, so you can work your numbers properly, just so that you have, you've got a full picture to work with.
And so how do they contact you? How do they get a hold of you? I know we'll have some information in the show notes.
Yep.
But
yeah, our website directly is just agpropertyservices.ca. Obviously, our phone number is on there as well. And then, you can obviously schedule a call with one of the partners, just to kind of go over what your investment goals are, and that's a big thing at kind of seeing where you want to take this. But then, it's just making sure you're also well connected with a good realtor as well in the city. Obviously, Calvin is one that came from Edmonton, and we work with him and his team, and they are great, because they've really got it down to a science as to what, depending on what their goal is as a client, they can point you in the direction of the city where you need to be, depending on what asset class you're after, right? It's
a good little team that how everything's set up there in Edmonton. Yep. I was there. I was really impressed. Like, I went to that conference, and I was really impressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's been good. I mean, Edmonton it's kind of a hidden gem, because it's been, like you said, it's been flat for so long, but now it's like, I think it's ready to
burst.
It's ready to burst. That's exactly it. So it definitely is a good time to be looking at Edmonton right now.
Okay, so last thing, what inspires you?
What inspires me? I would say it's just like the reason why I invest and why I do what I do. It's for my family, right? I want to, similar to you, like, I just want that generational wealth, and have something for my kids to have long term, and hopefully my grandkids and their kids as well. So that's my why.
Yeah, love it so much. Thank you for coming on the show. You'll come back. You'll be back,
sure.
And we're gonna do a lot of work together. And I know you're gonna help out a lot of our members. That's it, guys. Alfonso loves you, and we'll see you all at the top. Woo! Let's go.